And, then he actually switched to winemaking because he fell in love. And in 2006, when he started working at the Institute, I think it was 2006, but Roy can tell you more. He literally from day one, we started on the Pinot Noir project. And, the idea was, can we make great Pinot Noir in Argentina? And, literally we've been making Pinot Noir since the first plantings in 1996 in Villa Bastillas, which is in Tupungato. It's the grand-mère and grand-père. Then, Roy can tell you the story, but every year we would make the wines, we'd make good wines until in 2016, we had this really, really cold year. And we had decided to separate all the parcels and really follow them for a while. And the wines were just so different and so glorious. And a lot of this had to do with Belen's work, because, I think part of the issue when we started is that we weren't really working the parcels, individually for their soil and their particular situation. And Belen, started working, very, just with attention to detail to what was happening in each one of these parcels. And, after making these wines for many years, in 2016, we just fell in love. We thought the wines were so different, so expressive. And I remember I actually was in Burgundy with my son Dante, and we were visiting a tonnellerie, and we happened to walk into the situation where there were all these experts on Burgundy, from barrel producers to some producers, and they tasted through. I had taken a few bottles to taste with them, and they just went crazy, and they were throwing the word around like, this is like a premier grand cru classé, like it was nothing. And I don't know, it was like the moment where I decided we really need to sell these wines as its own brand, and each parcel has its name. And, I'm going to actually leave because I want Roy and Belen to tell you the story because they are the ones that are there every single day. But as you go through, you're going to see that there's, a lot of French, which the only reason that there's a lot of French is because I spent a lot of time in France when I was younger. I speak French, and I've always had, the Francophile thing, which is common in wine people. But the true fact is that I was sleeping one night and I woke up in the middle of the night, and the name for the wine came in French, all the names for the parcels. And I wanted the parcels to have the names to have something to do with the taste of the wine. And Roy and Belen are going to tell you about that. And then I'll leave you with one thing, which is the Sœurs et Frères. So it's Domaine Nico, Sœurs et Frères, which means sister and brothers. And I do have a daughter and two sons. But the main reason for this is that in France, and that's Nico over there to the right, in France, when you see any business, you know how often it'll be like, Smith Family Plumbing. And when they write, they call a lot of businesses brothers and sisters. So it would be like, Catena brothers and sisters, or, Liloy brothers and sisters. And it's always brothers come before the sisters. And I thought, wouldn't it be sort of an interesting twist to start with sister and brothers? And that's how the name came about. So wait, can you stop sharing for a minute? Because I just want to say bye, because I'm going to let my wonderful team members who are so incredible and who are they are as in love with this project as I am, because we're all in love with Domaine Nico. And you know how you guys have a job and, you do everything with great effort and you work hard, but there's some things that you really fall in love with. And we are in love with Domaine Nico and these wines. And I think that many of you are already falling in love as well. And when you hear Roy and Belen talk, I don't know, you might just have to get on a plane and go to Argentina just to see them. So thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to say bye-bye. And then Roy and Belen will share with me the notes and the comments. And you can also, there's Steve Wilkie. Hi, Steve. I love getting like displays of, wine on a shelf. Like, I love those things that maybe you send to other people. I want to get them too. So you see a beautiful display of any Catena wine, of Domaine Nico, please send it to me. It makes me very happy. I love to hear from you guys. And many of you do, but I welcome all of you to reach out to me. So muchas gracias. Good job, Roy and Belen in advance. And I will see you all soon, hopefully in your homes, because I'm dying to start traveling again, or in Argentina.
Good.
Okay,
Thanks,
adios.
Laura.
Bye,
Thank you.
thank you.
Bye, Laura.
Bye.
Well, guys, thank you for with Belen. We have the small presentation about the Domaine Nico project, like Laura said. We love the Pinot Noir. We studied a lot about terroir. For example, I started to work in the Catena family in 2006, and my first project in the Catena Institute was in 2008 with the idea to understand how different factors of the climate or the plants and soil affect the style and the sensory profile in Pinot Noir. With Belen, we started in 2008 with this small group to understand in depth the Pinot Noir in Mendoza. We studied in soil, we made the characterization of different parcels. I remember that we started with 26 different parcels in Tupungato with the idea to understand the style, the quality, and the sensory profile of that parcels. We studied, for example, the winemaking technique with our whole cluster, with different percentage of whole cluster, with the idea to understand what happened in the winemaking with Pinot Noir. We spent around 8 years of study.
Walking the vineyard. And a lot of walking in the vineyard.
Yeah, working in the vineyard. For example, in this, taking sample in the vineyard, making calicatas in Spanish, but it's the holes in the vineyard to understand how is the texture of the soil. For example, in this slide, you can see the parcels that we have in Adriana and in Gualtayari to understand the difference in the soil, because in Mendoza, we have alluvial soils that if you walk 10 meters, you can see the difference in the soil in different depth. You can see the rocks in the surface. All of this, we start with this project to understand how affect the soil and the climate and the plant in Pinot Noir. But in 2016 was unusual vintage. It's not common in Mendoza that raining a lot. Was so cool vintage. We didn't see the sun for 25 days. We decided to keep separate 5 parcels that vintage. What was the criteria to the selection of that 5 parcels? The criteria was the consistency in quality and the different style and the different sensory profile of that parcel, with the idea to show that Mendoza in the Uco Valley can produce different wines and different styles and different quality, and show the heterogeneity of the terroir that we have in Mendoza. In this map, well, you know where is Argentina in South America. Mendoza is like California, is the province, is located in the west side of Argentina, in the border with Chile, in the Andes mountain, and then we have the Uco Valley. In the Uco Valley is a large region that we have 3 main departments like Tupungato, Tunuyán, and San Carlos, but inside of the Uco Valley we have these parcels. In this map, we see Tupungato, Tunuyán, San Carlos, and we can see Mendoza City. And then if you go to the south of Mendoza, very close to the mountain, we have the Tupungato, and then in this place we have this parcel. 2 parcels in Villa Bastias. Villa Bastia is the low part of Tupungato. We say low part, but is 1,100 meters of elevation. If you compare with other wine regions in the world, is high altitude vineyard. But in the Uco Valley is the low part. And then we have other parcels, is Terroir, La Savane, in Gualteri, in 2 different elevations. And the last parcel is Le Paradis. In this picture, we can see better where is the mountain, where is the Tupungato, and where is the Mendoza city. Luján and Maipú is the classic region for Malbec, and then we have Tupungato, Tunuyán, and San Carlos. And all of this is the Andes mountain, the high altitude mountain that we have. And the east of Mendoza is Rivadavia and San Martin and Junín, for example. But in this place, we have all of the parcel of Pinot Noir. This picture is like a zoom in Tupungato. In the right side, we have the Los Cerrillos, it's like a small hill. Uco Valley is a valley, and we have the high altitude in the west and in the east. But this part is the east. We have the Los Cerrillos, and we have the 2 parcels located in Villa Bastida. Grand-père is like grandfather in English, and grandmère is a grandmother in English. This is the elevation, and then 15 kilometers to the west, we have Terroir. Yeah, in a few minutes, we're gonna talk all of these parcel and where it's located. But if you go close to the mountain, the elevation go high. No? And then we have La Savane in 1450 meters, and then Le Paradis. We have a lot of heterogeneity in climate in these 17 kilometers of distance between the first parcel and the last parcel. For example, we start the harvest in 14 in February, and we finish in April. 1 month and a half of difference between the harvest. And that
only in 15 kilometers.
Yeah,
and that just happened in a very short distance. So altitude makes a difference, actually.
Yeah, this is the picture that we took in La Savane. And you can see in winter, there are a lot of snow. It's the cool regions. It's very close to the mountain, and we have a lot of snow in winter. And then we're gonna talk about Grand-mère, Belen.
Well,
this is this is the map of Grand-mère.
That's the map actually of the vineyard. That's in this place is located in Villabastias. Well, Villabastias is a district inside the Tupungato department in the Uco Valley. So this is the first vineyard where we planted Pinot Noir. Actually, Nicolas and Laura planted Pinot Noir there in the late 80s, in the beginning of the 90s. In this vineyard, we didn't have any Malbec. It was only Pinot Noir, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Chardonnay. Now we do have some. We are replanting that vineyard because they wanted to explore. Okay, so they planted a lot of different selections of Pinot Noir, and some of them didn't went very well. So now we are replanting, but we have a very old parcel that's Grand-père. And Grand-mère is one of the replanted we did in the 2013, and the selection is 115 and 667. So we kept all the Dijon clones. So you see that is right next to a dry creek. This parcel, that's lot 2 in the vineyard. Actually, this morning, do you have any pictures of the soil, Roy? Can we move to the soil?
Yeah,
so you can,
yeah.
This was this morning. Actually, we went to the vineyard, we did some calicatas, we were exploring the soils. And So what you can see there is that we have about 50 centimeters of a deeper texture, okay, like a silt, a medium texture. So it retains a lot of water. We were actually very surprised that we found a lot of organic material, and that's because it's not that sandy as we will see that we have the soils in Baltasari. And we were actually very surprised of finding a lot of life in the soil, like earthworms and soil insects. So it was a very healthy soil. And then you see that we have these rocks. That's from the 50 centimeters till the, I don't know, we dig until 1 meter 20, then it was all rocky and so hard, so people say we are not digging anymore. But you can see all the rocks that are rounded, of course, because we have alluvial soil, so they came rolling with the water. And there was a lot of calcium carbonate, but you won't see the limestone layers that we will find in Baltasari. So for you, the clear message is deeper soils, okay, with more water retention and more organic material. So that give us like more shaded canopies and more vigorous vines in this vineyard.
Yeah, we love
Roy or Belen,
part.
Roy or Belen, we
Yeah.
in the flavor profile of the two wines, the Grand Mère and Grand Père, how do you differentiate between the two? Even though they come from the same vineyard, I know the soil is a little different, but on the flavor profile, which one is bigger or which one is more mineral? Right now,
No, in this case,
I mean, I promise you, we will taste the wine soon.
yeah. Well, in case of Grand Mère, the flavor are more red fruit. It's more like strawberries, cherries. It's very more vertical wine, high acidity, but the most important descriptor of this wine is red fruit. When we made this wine, one condition to go to the market is we can to guess all of the wine in the blind session, and that is we recognize very easy the sensory profile of this wine. In case of Grand Mère, the most important sensory profile is red fruit, and then the low alcohol contents and high acidity. Compared with Grand Père, we're gonna talk in few minutes about Grand Père, but Grand Père is more black fruit, more black currants, more horizontal wine, more that full body, a little more concentrate and less acidity.
Okay, thank you.
Well, but about the winemaking for this wine, we made a lot of micro-vinification. Here in La Pyramide, in Mendoza, you can see a lot of small tanks, a lot of micro-vinification. Like in this picture, this guy are doing the punch down. But in this case, for Grand Mère, Grand Père, we made a lot of micro-vinification with whole cluster, about 20% of whole cluster. And then we made a lot of, we put all of the wine for aged for 14 months in French oak of second use. Because the idea of this wine, Grand Père, is show, or how do you say mantener in English? The red fruit.
You wanna
the red fruit.
Keep the red fruit, yeah.
The freshness. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is because we made a lot of micro-vinification, because this parcel is very small. It's just 2 hectares. The total production of this wine is 8,000 bottles. It's a small production of this one because the parcel is small, and the criteria to select the parcel is the soil. When the soil change, that is the other parcel. No. Okay, Jorge, did you tell me if you have some question in the chat, because we can
No, I mean,
answer
so
some
far I don't
questions.
see questions, but I told them to ask you questions, to feel free to speak up. You know?
I don't have problem if some guys had to make a question in the presentation. I don't have problem. Well, Grand-Père is the other parcel very close to Grand-Mère. It's next to Grand-Mère, but the difference with Grand-Mère is the years of the plant. This was the first parcel that Laura Catena planted in the Uco Valley in 1993, and all of the parcel is Clone Dijon 115, and the size of the parcel is 2 hectares. With different with Grand-Mère is the soil and the plants, because Grand-Mère was replanted in 2013, but this is the original plant of the first time that planted in that vineyard Pinot Noir, that when Laura and Nicolas decided to put Pinot Noir in the Uco Valley. This is the soil profile of this wine compared with Grand-Mère. In this case, change the depth, the topsoil depth in 20 centimeters. I don't know if Belen, can you explain the soil?
Yeah, also this was this morning too, but you can see that we have less rocky soil, okay? So we have the rocks, but I would say in the Grand-Mère, we have 70% of the subsoil, the other layer, not the upper, that has 70% is rocky. But here we have some rocks, but it's mixed with more soil. The texture is very, very similar. But the main difference is, I believe, is in the age of the plants that are older, and also in the plant density. The Grand-Mère, we have almost 8,000 plants per hectare, and here we have 4,000 plants per hectare. You can see that they are very mature vines, so we are trying to keep them alive because they are very old now. And so we have to prune them very carefully, and we have to treat them very, very well. But the wine that give us is so amazing that we are trying to make it sustainable.
We love we love the wine of this parcel, because the profile, the descriptor that we can get in this parcel are unique in this area, in the Urvieta. We love the concentration, because it's not the light Pinot Noir, it's more a little bit more concentrated than Grand-Mère. The profile is more black fruit.
Roy and Belen, there are two questions.
Like
two different ones. There are two questions. One is for the winemaking, and the other one is for the vineyards. The winemaking question is, let me see. Sorry. One second.
The glasses, Jorge. You need the glasses.
No, the glare is crazy there. Okay. For the winemaking, are there any organic processes taken in the winemaking? Do you have
in the winemaking,
process in the winemaking?
In the winemaking, we use the organic protocol, because all of the wine that we made in the Catena Institute have the same protocol. It's the organic protocol. But in the case of the wine, when Belen can explain better, we are working on sustainability protocol for the management of the vineyard.
Yeah, so all our vineyards and our wineries are certified sustainable. In general, we keep organic, the organic program, but in some vineyards we certify, and in some others we don't. In the Domingo vineyard, we don't certify organic, but we manage the vineyard with the same protocol, basically. But we are not certifying the vineyard.
The second question is, if you are experimenting with other clonal selections of Pinot Noir in the vineyards, are you working with other Pinot Noir clones?
Yeah, we have a new clone here planted that is the 828 that has never been planted before. And we are seeing how it goes. It's very new. It's also, it was planted in the 13. And I don't know, maybe Roy can tell us a little bit more how the wines are going, but
Yes,
okay.
yes, in 2009, we started with this program to understand the plant factor in Pinot Noir in Mendoza. We removed a lot of plant selection that we didn't like it, of not didn't like it, the style and the profile, the sensory profile that we don't expect, like Swan, Pomar, 113, 114, all of that plant selection we remove of Villa Bastillas, with the idea to plant it more 115 and 667. That 115 and 667 are the most important plant selection that we have in this moment. But like Belen said, we are studying other plant selection, the new plant selection in the market.
Okay, one more. This is a two-part question. Which one of the two? I mean, which one of the two, the Grand Mère or the Grand Père, get more sun exposure? And if what is the effect of altitude on the Pinot Noir grape?
Actually, here in this vineyard, we don't have differences in slopes or in exposure, sorry. So they both have northern exposure, like it's kind of a warmer climate than the one that we are going to see in Baltasari. And the other question was the effect of altitude.
The effect of altitude on the Pinot Noir grape.
But actually, altitude, I'm gonna say it in vineyards, then Ro can explain in the wines, but mainly light. Light is the difference. It's like we have to be very careful with light. As you go higher, you get more UVB light. So we have to keep it a little bit shaded in higher altitudes. And it was the biggest challenge in this project about keeping the canopies shaded, not to get sunburn. So light is the main effect. But I don't know in the wines.
No, but that is the sunlight exposure is a challenge, because for the Pinot Noir, the sunlight in the leaf is very well, but if you have the sunlight exposure in the cluster, in the grapes, the Pinot Noir has like the mechanism of defense about sunlight intensity. It's like it respond about when the plants have a lot of sunlight, and the plant produce one compound called quercetin, and that because we don't want the sun exposure in the cluster, but yes in the leaf. And the other thing is the altitude. If you go high in Mendoza, you have the temperature decrease a lot. The cool climate is very well to Pinot Noir, because you can delay the ripeness. You have more acidity and less alcohol content. And then it's very good for the Pinot Noir, because the freshness is high if you compare with the warm areas in other places. For example, in the east of Mendoza or Luján de Cuyo.
Okay, we can go to the next vineyard.
Okay, let's go. Let's go with the next. Istuarda. Laura had to explain the story of Istuarda. Istuarda is a main reference to the erotic or pornographic novel to Poulain Rouge in the 50 decades from France. Well, Laura is not here. I can tell the story how Laura put this name. But in 2016, when we taste all of the parcels, I don't know why, but Laura said, Roy, Belen, this wine is so sexy. We don't know what is sexy, but Laura said, oh, this Pinot Noir is so sexy, because, and then she thought that this is the best name for this wine because the sensory character of this wine is more herbal, it's so elegant in the flavors and the mouthfeel, and that because Laura decided to put Histoire made reference to this novel, to erotic and pornographic novel from France. And with the difference to Grand Mère and Grand Père, we are located in another appellation. This is to Altairi in 1350 meters of elevation. Maybe you know what is this vineyard, but in this parcel, Histoire is located in the low part of this vineyard, very close to Lomas del Jaboncillo. Lomas del Jaboncillo is like a small hills to the north of this vineyard, and the sun exposure, well, Belen explained better this part, but the sun exposure is different, but Histoire is 1.75 hectares. It's a very small parcel with the same plant selection that Grand Père is clone 115, and this parcel was planted in 1998. We love this parcel because the sensory and the microclimate of this parcel is so different to the other part of the vineyard. In this picture, you can see we have Histoire. This is small parcel of 1.75 hectares. And all of this part, Lomas del Jaboncillo, is these small hills that around the parcel. For example, here we have Riverstones, Fortuna Terra, the other parcel of the vineyard.
Yeah, many of you have been to the vineyard, right? So it's the lowest part of the vineyard. There you can see the hills, there you can see the parcel, so it's surrounded by these hills that keep it like protected. It's kind of a warmer parcel inside the vineyard, and it also, the exposure of this parcel plays a role because it's northern exposure and it have a very big slope. So this is like the first parcel to bud break, the first parcel to be picked. In a way, is the parcel that make us to put in movement. Like now it's crying. It's crying. The Joro that is before bud break, that indicates that it's getting warmer and the plant is getting ready to get out of dormance. So it's the first parcel to move in the vineyard. I don't know if you want to go back to the other one, because it gave us a lot of work, this parcel, because you can see there that there's like a greener spot, that's a deeper soil that was in the middle of the parcel. So we used to pick separately all these different parts of the parcel. There. So you can see that we have the Loma, the Norte, so all the different parcels that was divided. So this little 125 hectares was divided in all those parcels. With the organic management of the vineyard, it actually came very even. So now we are actually picking all together. It helped us a lot because it was too vigorous maybe before the organic management. Now it goes much better.
Belen, there is a question. I don't know if I missed, maybe you said it, I just needed to go out for a second. Are the vines planted history that they are from the cuttings from the Grand Père?
If we took the cuttings?
Yeah, from Grand Père, or where did you get
it
for?
No, we actually all these vines are imported. Okay. Because at the time there was no nursery who was reproducing, I don't know how you say it, who was doing these kinds of selections of Pinot Noir. So that was very innovative, because at the time we only had the selections for sparkling in Mendoza. So we imported the selections for wine, the Dijon clones. So no, I think they are Italian plants from Italy.
Okay.
Well, but all of these parts is so small, and we produce around 3,000 bottles. Depend the years, but 2017 was 3,000 bottles, and 2018 we produced 4,000 bottles. But depend the year, depend the vintage, the yield of the plant, and the limitation is the how Belen say the soil. All of these parcels we made in roll fermenter. I don't know if you know what is roll fermenter, but it's like a large barrel, and then we put the whole cluster and the stem, the grapes, and then the method of extraction to the skin to the liquid is you have to roll the barrels, and then we made the wines. This method is very, we love this method because you can keep the skin in contact with the liquid around 16 days, the long maceration period. And then Histoire, in case of the Histoire, we age the wine 18 months in 20% new oak and 18% of second use barrels. It's the same barrel that we use in white bones. It's François cooperage, and all of this is French oak. In this picture, we can see, this picture is very funny. With Laura, we select this picture because he is Dante, and the other is me. With Dante in 2017, we are working to fill in the barrels with Histoire in the Catena Institute. It's very funny because all of the year, Dante and Laura and Nico came to the vineyard, the winery, to work with us in the Catena Institute. What is I see the one question. What's the flavor profile of Histoire? Well, the flavor profile of Histoire is more herbal, like thyme. How do you say tomillo, Jorge? Or how do you say tomillo? Is thyme? Or jarilla, more herbal flavors, more elegant in the mouthfeel. It's no concentrate, but high acidity and low alcohol. Thyme.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was on mute.
Okay, well, but this is the sensory profile is Histoire. And for 3 years consecutive, Histoire was the best Pinot Noir in Argentina. For Team Atkin and the Tanzer, the last year put like a best Pinot Noir of Argentina. We love this parcel because it's very important for us, and it's like so different to the other parcel of Valtteri. In that vineyard, the scholar lady is make reference to the woman that can be feminine and sexy at the same time. We love this parcel because it's a little more concentrate, a little more color that Histoire, and came from the same vineyard. But there are 100 meters of elevation of difference. If you remember, the Histoire was in this part, and La Savane is 2 kilometers west to Histoire. We have La Savane. In La Savane, we have 2 plant selection, 115 and 777. And the size of the parcel is smallest, is 1.40 hectares, and was planted in 1994. This was the first part of the vineyard that planted Nicolas in Valtteri, because all of the people say you are crazy. The grape never ripe in that place, and that is because Laura Catena planted Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Merlot, and this was the Pinot Noir that planted in that time. And if you know this vineyard, you can see El Mirador, the Facebook Mirador. Maybe you eat empanadas and drink.
You can't remember empanadas, guys.
In
Yeah,
that place,
everybody is
always
smiling.
wait.
Okay, you do. Yeah. We need you to come. We
Um,
haven't eaten an empanada in that place for like, I don't know, in March. So,
March 13th.
yeah. So we miss you guys.
yeah,
We need excuses for empanadas, you know?
yeah, we need you because we want to go to eat empanada in that place. We miss a lot that lunch. And if you see the mountain from the Mirador, you can see the La Sabana. No, first we have the Merlot, and then different plant selection of Pinot Noir. We have the La Sabana parcels, and then we have more Chardonnay. No,
So,
and the soil is so different.
so Roy, we're trying to launch the next vintage, I guess the 18, probably in October.
When we
Difference
in
between 18 and
October, yeah,
17? Is there a big difference between 18 and 17?
yes, there is a little difference. Um, in this case, you say 2017 and 2018, the difference between vintage. Jorge, you say the difference between vintage?
Yes.
Yeah, the difference between vintage is, well, the vintage effect in Mendoza is so high. But in the case of the new vintage you launch in October, in case of La Sabana Terroir, La Sabana is a little more concentrate, and you can feel a lot more phosphorus, a little of reduction compared with 2017. That is because 2018 we call it El Mendocino vintage because it was so dry and sunny. The average of the rainfall in 2018 was 150 millimeters less with the average, the historical average of in Mendoza. But it was so cool, the coolest climate. And that is because we see a little bit more, how to say, concentrate in case of the last vintage.
Jorge, are you
Well,
drinking Pinot? Are you drinking
are you drinking Pinot?
Domaine Nico? Which one? I can't see.
The feminine one, the Grand Mère.
Okay.
Grandmère?
Anyone else is drinking the wine or?
No, we're gonna taste, because COVID, we couldn't send samples, and we probably have more samples. We probably need than what we have for sale to sell. So, but we're gonna go around to every market and taste the wines, and especially when the new vintage comes in, we're gonna do more tasting. Hopefully, we can have groups so we can share the wines and explain. Tasting makes a big difference.
Yeah, great. Send us comments.
Great. Well, I have La Sabana here.
You're lucky.
Well, well, I have the bottle here in the wine, but it's easier for us to drink the wine. Okay, then the last parcel is Le Paradis. Le Paradis is located 4 kilometers west to La Sabana. I don't know if you remember the map, but I'm gonna put the map here. Well, we have Istuardoa, no? And then we have La Sabana. And then to 4 kilometers away, we have the west, we have Le Paradis. Le Paradis is the cool climate, and we have around 3 weeks of difference of the harvest date with La Sabana, because this is the how do you say Belen is the limit, is so extreme, the climate.
Yeah, it's kind of a limit for viticulture in Tupungato. It's a vineyard that is very, very extreme. There you might have some problems with frost. You have a very long vintage. You have to wait for the grapes to get ripened. So yeah, it's very, very high, and that makes a difference.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in this picture we can see the entry to the vineyard in Le Paradis, but it's so cool that place. For example, I don't know if you know. I don't know. Do you know the Winkler Index? Well, this place is Winkler Index 1 live Burgundy. Is so cool. That is because we have 1 month and a half of difference in the date harvest with Grand Mère and Grand Père. We harvest this parts in April, compared with the other that we harvest in January and March. No, well, in this map we can see where.
Well, some of you have been to the vineyard, right? Is the vineyard where we have the little winery? Yeah, Jorge, you do. Where we have the ships, where you have asado. So always remember asado.
Asado. Empanada,
there you have the winery.
wine.
The main question from everybody: why is Le Paradis so not Le Paradis?
Well, the climate condition is so extreme, and it's so difficult to make grapes. Well, Belen maybe explain better, but it's so difficult to make to maintain the grapes then. And the other thing is the most different in sensory and style Pinot Noir from Argentina that we found, with a lot of aging potential, the high acidity, a little more concentration. If you taste that wine now, compared with the other wines, the other Domaine Nico Pinot Noir, maybe it's the less aromatic, but it's so mineral, it's so a lot of red fruit and herbal, but with the idea to maintain a long time in the bottle. When we made this wine, is thinking about 10 years or 20 years in the bottle, with a lot of aging potential.
No, we like the wine much, but I need to speak with Mariano because, again, the salespeople, I mean, everybody that is here, they want to sell the wine, and I need them to taste it so they experience that, those sensations. I had the wine there, and of course, when, the wine is good there and it's good when it comes here, but I mean, you make so little that it's difficult to provide samples to the people, and a lot of our high buyers, they need to taste the wine. I mean, I do events where I have collectors, but I still have to taste them on the wine. So I'm gonna talk to Mariano and see if he can give me some bottles I mean, right now I'm interested on the people from Wineboat to taste the wine so they understand, and they don't call me crazy. I mean, we don't do the pricing, and they always ask the same, why so much. I mean, if the wine was a little bit less, we can actually sell it faster. Maybe selling it faster, or maybe it's about building a vertical on the wine. But I'm in sales, and I want people to taste it and experience it. So right now I have a couple bottles, and I'm going out wherever I can, and wherever I'm allowed to taste people, and explain why is the wine so special. I know it's very special. I know it's very dear to you, and especially Belen. I mean, I remember seeing her planting that vineyard, in the mid 2000s, I think 06 or 07. I remember all that. I lost my cell phone there. That's probably why the wine is so good.
Yeah.
I
remember that. Your brand new iPhone.
Yeah, are you okay? I have a question here. They say, are you making Le Paradis in every vintage, or only on selected vintages?
We hope so.
No, we made the Paradis, or we started with bottling the Paradis in 2016, but we're gonna wait around 3 or 4 years to launch the new vintage in 2017. We're gonna wait 2 or 3 years more to put more bottle aging of the wine.
Okay.
When we started this project, the idea was launch Grand Père, Grand Mère, Histoire d'Oie, La Savane, and wait maybe 4 years to launch the Le Paradis, but we decided to launch the first vintage 2016. But now we have the opportunity to wait a little more to the next vintage.
Yeah, I think we're getting some 17 though. I think we're getting in October some wine. But anyway, I'm not worried about it. I know I can sell it because I have a great team. These people are very professional. We just need to make sure that, you know, whoever we sell it, they understand that the wine is that good, you know. To me, it's very good.
Yeah.
But for people, you know, they said, oh, Argentina, you know. Okay, let me ask you another question. What is the main difference on the profile between the famous Patagonia wines and you know, Huertallería Alto?
Well, that is my personal experience with. I love the Pinot Noir from Patagonia, but compared with Huertallería Alto, the cool climate compared with the how do you say, es más frío Huertallería Alto.
It's colder, and you have the limestone also. You have the soil.
Yeah. We have the more sunlight intensity. You have more cooler regions, and the combination of this soil with the climate, we think that is very important for the Pinot Noir. But well, I love the Pinot Noir from Patagonia also. They are doing a very, very, very well job.
Like I said in the emails, I mean, I encourage you to asking questions. If you have, I mean, you guys ask me so many questions about this wine. This is your opportunity to ask Roy and Belen. I mean, they make the wine, they grow the wine, they see it every day. It's their baby. So feel free to ask questions. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm normally the messenger.
Okay. Diana say, what is the aging potential of this wine? Well, depends. In the case of the Grand Père, I said now is the expression, the aromatic expression of Grand Père is amazing. Maybe 7 years or 10 years is the aging potential for that wine. Histoire d'Oie and La Savane, maybe if I had to choose, I can wait. I'm gonna wait maybe 4 years. The aging potential is also 12 or 17 years. And Le Paradis, we think that this wine have the aging potential of 20 years or more. But we are working with the University of Burgundy and other institutions to understand the aging potential of this wine with more accuracy. But I drink the last week one Le Paradis for one tasting. I have to wait. It's like, I don't know how you say, Jorge es, ¿cómo le dicen cuando la abren muy joven?
Yeah, if you premature, open the bottle. Yeah.
Yeah, premature. Yes.
And I have a question from Michael LaRocque, my great friend from Illinois. Are you making any
Michael? Yes, we have Magnum. Magnum.
Yeah,
I bought it in the last week.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, for events and things like that. That's good.
Yes.
How many markets are you exporting Domaine Nico? Do you have enough Domaine Nico to go?
Moment,
yeah.
No. In this moment, the domestic market is so strong, where maybe the 50% of the production of Domaine Nico stay here in Argentina. but the most important market is US.
Okay.
And a little bit in Europe.
What is
the production of?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You can read it. You can read it.
Yeah, I have the chat in the screen.
Okay.
Histoire and La Savane is around 3,000 to 4,000 bottles. And Le Paradis, the production is 2,000 bottles.
Okay.
And the percentage of whole cluster for Le Paradis is 50%. And for La Savane, Histoire is depend the vintage, but we use around 20 to 40% of whole cluster. We use a lot of whole cluster to increase the earthy character and a little more mouthfeel to the final wine. The last question. Well, in my case, I think that's more comparable. We can compare with more all world. I don't know if I answered well the question, but what?
He's asking like if you can compare to any wines of the old world Pinot Noir.
Does it remind you of anything from Burgundy?
Yes, I understand. Yes, yes.